Swagat, Adab once again. The International Kindness Festival, certainly the first of its kind virtual gathering of people who really want to examine kindness and compassion and not really, mock at this attempt to get kindness back in our lives. And especially the lockdown has had many things to teach us. And one certainly is this need. That can we really process it and get to listen to more people who practice this, who put this into their profession and their daily lives. Now, the lady I present before all of you is also a powerful speaker, a powerful woman, first of all, and I have great pleasure in introducing and welcoming Dr. Lalitha Kumaramangalam. She's a prolific speaker, trainer, motivator. She's also a women's empowerment advocate, animal rights and sustainable life campaigner. She's also a cancer survivor and a single mother. Dr. Lalitha Kumaramangalam speaks for the inclusive development agenda of Prime Minister Modi on various fora, whether it's in India or outside. She's recently been addressing and advising groups and individuals who have been impacted by COVID, accidents, cancer, unforeseen severe financial problems, and so on. Today, I welcome you, ladies, gentlemen, and trans people, to this talk, which is about Shakti Unleashed. This is what Dr. Lalitha is going to speak to us about. Be yourself, love yourself unapologetically. So she will speak to us about being kind to oneself by giving ourselves a space to heal and not giving in to self-doubt and self-loathing. I will leave her, in fact, to do the talking. It's with great pleasure and genuine happiness that I invite you, Dr. Lalitha Kumaramangalam, to take over.
Okay, thank you very much, Vasanthi. Namaskar, vanakkam, and good evening to all my friends there. You will note I don't say ladies, gentlemen, transgenders, etc., because to me, I have worked with too many different sections of people. I don't care what your gender is, what your sexual orientation is. I really don't care about differences that exist between us. I'm always more interested in the similarities between us. Now, I am talking about women throughout the world who are always in a position, I find, and I'm sorry to generalize, but I am generalizing because I myself have been there very often. It's not that those people who are women who appear as strong, who are leaders, etc., have not doubted themselves, have not been rough on themselves. I think it's almost now in our DNA throughout the world, and I'm not again talking just about Indian women, where women are the toughest on themselves, and more often than not, very tough on other women too. You find that when you can be so unforgiving to yourself, after a while, you will start judging other women too. That's not the way to either spread a happiness or be happy. Happiness is a very intangible thing. It comes from small things I have learned. Today, I am at a point in my life where at my age, given what I've been through, I don't really depend too much on the opinions of others. Of course, there are people whom I love, whom I'm very fond of, colleagues, friends, relatives, people like family, whose opinions matter a lot to me. Nonetheless, I don't take too much of what people say to me personally. This is something I have learned to do over the years. People talk in anger. People tend to lash out at others when they are unhappy with themselves. And that is not a person that I have wanted to be. I have done it too. I have made those mistakes. Don't think that we don't make mistakes. All of us, man, woman, doesn't make a difference. We are human beings. And human beings by, I think, nature, by definition itself, we are frail. We do make mistakes. But we must learn to forgive ourselves. We must learn, especially as women, not to take any sort of crap, and I'm sorry to use a strong word, from anybody, be it financial, be it physical, be it sexual, be it any other way. Don't allow anybody to put you down, because in that, you're putting yourself down. Don't doubt yourselves. Too often, we tend to take the blame for mistakes that have perhaps been made by a team or somebody else, or perhaps just a mistake, a genuine mistake. We take the entire blame on ourselves and make ourselves even more miserable. I always tell everybody who asks me that two of the things that any woman should learn is self-esteem and self-forgiveness. We must learn to let our mistakes go and accept that, like, well, we're going to make mistakes. We're human beings. We're not perfect. And accept how strong we are. Most women I've met, regardless of age, regardless of anything else, just regardless, are amongst the most capable, amongst the strongest, amongst the ones with the most fortitude, with the most amount of, compromises that they can make in order to keep others happy. And that, my dear friends, is real strength. It's very, very difficult to put other people before you, but women do it every day. So think about how great we actually are, individually, as a cohort, and of course, all of us together are a force that nobody can stop. I have never tired of telling people who, even those who don't listen to me quite often, that if women were not around in this world, sometimes I really think the world would just come crashing down. We are the ones who hold up our families, our children, our workspaces so often. We're the ones who step into every breach almost. We are the ones who fill all those tiny little cracks in every foundation, which, if left untended, would just bring the whole building crumbling down. We are the ones who look at the small things, the tiny things that most people don't even think of looking at, thereby ensuring that everything seems normal and good and correct. But during doing all these, we end up not asking for help for ourselves. We ask for help for everybody else, children, friends, our pets, including, everybody. But we hesitate to ever ask for anything for ourselves. Some of us who want to actually invest in something for ourselves, again, we feel, shouldn't we first do it for our children, for our family, for our husbands, for everybody, but not ourselves. Now, I'm not saying ignore your families, those you love, etc. They're all a big part of our life. And I know that without them, all of us also would not be as happy or as successful or even survive, probably. But the fact is that more often than not, we don't stand up for ourselves, we don't respect ourselves, and we very rarely, if ever, put ourselves first. What's the harm in taking a little time off? What's the harm in spending a little time with yourself? What's the harm with spending a little money and effort on yourself? Whatever it may be for, something that makes you happy. Somebody may want to go to a movie. Somebody may want to buy a book. Somebody may want to buy a piece of jewelry. Somebody may just want to go off on holiday alone. Why not? There's nothing wrong in it. The trick is that you must learn to, everybody has their own priorities. And who am I to judge what somebody else's priorities should be? Exactly the same way nobody else has the right to judge what my priorities should be. This is where we often falter. We give other people too much control over us. We need to take control of our lives at the first step is when you realize that you must learn to respect yourself, what we call self-respect. There is a word nowadays that's bandied around a lot when it comes to women's development, women's empowerment. These are all just terms. It's called agency. Now, what is agency? Agency is actually the capacity, the strength, the training, the opportunity, all of it that is available to a woman to be able to live her life the way she wants. Some people may call me too arrogant. Some people may call me too dark, too thin, too fair, too fat, too whatever. It doesn't matter. What matters in the end is that I am happy with myself. I value myself. I occasionally do put myself first, if not always. It doesn't matter. And I don't take things too personally and don't keep apologizing for my own mistakes. Then I'm happy. I'm happy being successful. I'm happy having stood on my own feet. I'm happy that I'm alive today, despite the fact that I had breast cancer. I'm happy that I have survived now. I think my father died when I was 15 and a half. He was one of the most powerful men in the country when he died. A very famous politician, lawyer, etc., charismatic, successful man. But today I'm 63. So he died when I was 15. So it's been a long, long time. It's almost 40 years since he passed away. I have made it in life. I've come very far in life. I went from being the very spoiled, pampered child of a very powerful, very rich man to a girl who learned to travel by bus, who got, sometimes in those days on bus, you had these fellows trying to act smart with you. I've slapped one of them on the bus. I've gone through a lot in life. And I have learned one thing, that if I keep apologizing for things that I may feel I have done wrong, I'm going nowhere. I have learned to stand with my head held high, and this is what every woman should do. I'm not saying men shouldn't, but today I'm very specifically addressing women because I've had a lifetime of work with women from 1991 till today. I have worked with transgenders, with sex workers, with disabled women, with women who sometimes have certain mental breakdowns, with women who are mothers of children who may be not exactly what the world judges as perfect. I have seen every one of them always try to find out what they have done wrong. And recently, the other day, less than a week ago, I spoke to a lady whom my heart broke when I spoke to her. She had an 80-year-old son, an only child, who committed suicide. And when a very good friend of mine from Bangalore asked me to speak to her, the only thing she kept asking was, Madam, what did I do wrong? Where did I go wrong? Why did this happen to me? You know, I suppose it's a human thing. It's not just women who do it, but it is true that we women tend to take ourselves too strongly. We judge ourselves too strongly. We expect too much from ourselves. We expect to be perfect all the time. Even as bosses, we very often hesitate to take a bull by the horns because we don't want to upset our juniors. We don't want to make them, turn around and tell us, but madam, you did this. What are you? Even otherwise, we don't always take a stand. We very, very, very rarely don't think about why we do this. And equally rarely, we very rarely have learned to say no. The word no is something that very few girls are taught to say. From childhood, you're told that you must adjust. Now, this word adjust is something I don't like at all because the connotations of it as one grows older, and it becomes like a part of your DNA where you always think that you're the one who has to bend down and everybody else can walk all over you. I'm not saying it always happens in life, but the basis of any woman's success, any woman's happiness, actually this is for any individual, but more so for women because it is still an extremely patriarchal society that we all live in. Regardless of how successful we may be, every successful woman, if you scratch a little, will tell you the amount of patriarchy that we have. It's like a solid concrete wall, or God knows, concrete, plutonium, what else is there in it? It's very, very difficult to break. So most of us have learned to just climb over it and ignore it, put it behind us, so to speak. But you will find that there are too many of us who still, even having made it so far, there are many people whom we still say, oh my God, are we the one who did the mistake? Oh my God, are we the ones who should have reached out? Oh my God, was I the bad boss? Maybe she was right or he was right. One of our colleagues, junior colleagues, there are so many times that we do this. Miss a deadline. Oh, good God, what have I done? Everybody misses deadlines. Tear a sari somewhere, turn up in the wrong clothes somewhere. Our child doesn't do well in their exams. Everything we take upon ourselves. Well, take responsibility, but not to the extent where you put yourself down. First of all, to be happy, we need to be happy with ourselves. Unhappiness comes from generally deep within us. When we respect ourselves, when we learn that we accept ourselves as we are, faults, everything, the good things all put together make us, then you find that we become gentler to ourselves, we become gentler to everything around us, whether it's the environment, whether it is the political situation, whether it is, our family, whether it is our pets, our own children. We will find that we will be much happier, much gentler, much more, in many ways, much more successful people too. Now, this is exactly what I had said I would come to. And successful women today are really awesome. You will see every successful woman without fail, however successful may be in whatever field they may be, whether it is like Vasanti ji in her own field, me in my field, Mahima in her field, and any other one. I mean, many, many names, the biggest names in the world. They have come through a lot. Their capacity to understand their own problems, their own weaknesses, and to project their own strengths. Our capacity. I don't mean it as me versus you all, nothing of the sort. We're all exactly the same deep down, which is why we all must understand from a very young age that we must put ourselves first. We must be good to ourselves. We must be kind to ourselves. We must be gentle on ourselves. That is when we will be able to maximize our own potential and do whatever, we can for others. That is where we will become better human beings. And that is when I think women make the world a much happier place, a much kinder, a much gentler place. So that is when really we will, in many ways, become the individuals that we are supposed to be. I don't know if I've overshot my time. Let me have a look at my watch. Well, have I overshot my time? Or can I, Or can I now sort of wind up and say that thank you very much?
No,
if
no.
there are any questions anybody wants to ask me, you're welcome to do it.
Please carry on for the next 2 minutes, Dr.
Okay, done. Right. Now, one of the things I had said was that we don't ask for help for ourselves. We'll ask for help for the child tuition teacher. I'm sorry, I said that in Tamil. We want a tuition teacher for our children. Please give me, can you send me some numbers? We will never say, I want to wear a particular sari on a particular occasion. I'm being told this. Where do I go and find, in an emergency, where do I go buy it? If we do it, then we think, why did we waste time on ourselves? That's not the point. The point is that just as much as you value your children, your husband, your family, your friends, your work, everything else, you should value yourself. And buying a good sari, what's the problem? I mean, you look nice. People also feel nice when they see somebody dressed well. I always like to see people who are dressed well. Not that I'm dressed well doesn't mean wearing loads of makeup and jewelry and stuff. Anything that you feel happy in can make somebody sort of literally irradiate happiness. And, I know how to say, there's an aura around most people. A happy, successful, contented person has an aura of, in a sense, completion. That women who maybe according to us, somebody we're looking at, we think, she has everything. But you've no idea how deeply down, how unhappy she may be. On the other hand, you may see somebody and think that, oh my God, poor woman. She may be an extremely happy woman. That it's not material positions that make you happy. It's what you feel inside, here and here. These are the two things that really make or break any individual. And this is where we are made to feel weakest. In a patriarchal society, women are not taught to value themselves. You're taught to undervalue yourself. So I'm telling you, all youngsters out there, or even people of my age or a little younger than me, or throughout, whoever may be listening, that don't undervalue yourself. Don't undersell yourself. Oversell. Don't undersell. Put yourself first. Don't feel sorry. Don't keep apologizing. And be happy. Be very kind to yourself, first of all. Thank you very much.
Thanks. It's almost like, we are used to your good oratory. So in a way, it was also nice to hear you on a closer platform. There is a couple of questions that's come in. And
sure.
One of the questions is that, Lalita ji, you talked about women giving themselves the big up, but you talked only about your father and his background. And of course, his demise when you were just a child.
She's quite right.
Yeah. And
she's quite right.
Yeah.
I have to admit that it was my mother and my aunt, my atte. These are the two women who taught me to stand up for myself, who taught me that women can manage on their own. And both my brother and I have had a habit of saying, if I'm anything that I am today, it's more due to my mother than my father. My father was a very big, charismatic, etc., man. But it was my mother who really gave me the guts to stand up for myself, to stand up in my life, to not accept that I cannot make it when I was very down and out, and who at every step said that you're first answerable to yourself. So first learn to respect yourself and don't worry. Even if it is tough in the beginning, you will do it. So, I agree with what you said. Thank you for reminding me. But it is my mother who was neither so beautiful or charismatic, who came from just a solid middle-class Bengali family, a very well-educated woman, and my extremely charismatic and powerful aunt, who taught me that women are really amazing.
We can see that jhalak in you. This question would say that what were those moments, if you can recall something that have made you the great orator that you are now?
And thank you for the role model. Thank you for that compliment. I don't know whoever it is. Thank you very much. I learned that I shouldn't hesitate to talk about my own experiences. Normally, people talk almost in the abstract. But I have learned that when I say we and not you, then people understand empathy is something that's very important. And whenever I find myself talking about my own experiences, I can understand how much others need the empathy that I always craved and often never got. So perhaps that is it. I never stop. I never feel, I never hesitate to talk about any of my experience, good or bad. I'm extremely open. Some people say I'm a bit too blunt, but well, that's me. So I've learned to translate my own personal experiences, triumphs, mistakes, everything. And perhaps that's what, makes it a little more genuine. I don't talk in the abstract.
Yeah, it was quite evident the way you were giving very pragmatic examples of people that you have dealt with. It reminds me of the line in the gym where I go to, and it says, you never know who you are inspiring. So I think that sort of holds good, because sometimes even just by watching people like you speak, a lot of people may derive that courage to go on with whatever they are facing at the moment. On behalf of the organizers, I'd like to thank you.
Thank you very much.
Nandri.
Vanakkam and Nandri. Thank you.